And what I'm going to present to you all is it builds on top of what Jerry has presented in pieces and has also added some pieces in that Vicky has presented on. And what I'm going to present to you on is how to become a better leader. Because each one of you that are on this present or that's on this training with us are all leaders, regardless if you're sergeant at arms, treasurers, secretary, VPMs, VPPRs, VPEs, and especially presidents. You are all leaders in your clubs. So I want to go ahead and give you and partake with you some tips that I have learned in this article that I'm going to go over, as well as through the years of how to become better leaders. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. So a little bit about myself. If some of you may or may not know, I was extremely introverted back a long time ago. Things like this, a presentation like this, if you would have told me 15, 20 years ago that I'm giving it to over 50 people, would have completely freaked me completely out to the point where I would have been physically ill. I hated doing this stuff with a passion. I was a one-on-one talker that could only talk to one person at a time. Group setting conversations or presentations, I stayed away from with a 10-foot pole. So knowing that about myself and knowing the path that I wanted to go on, I knew that this had to change. So I joined Toastmasters in 2004 to challenge myself to get away from being introverted and to get a personality and things about myself to move me in a direction where doing presentations like this and interacting with people that I do not know would become more natural and easier to overcome. I've been club president 4 times, 3 with Thoroughbred Toastmasters and once with Fruit of the Loom Toastmasters, and decided then at that point to become area director 2 years ago. And I've been division director last year and this year, as well as this year becoming club extension chair to help Dean Phillips out with the club growth director position. Now, you're going to ask where I got a lot of this information that I came up with. And I'm huge about reading articles, especially anything that inspires or helps to improve. And this article I thought was very well written, that was on the www.verywellmind.com website. It was written by Kendra Cherry and reviewed by Amy Mullen, and it was written in December 19th of 2019. So I thought this was a very well put together article that I'm just going to share some tidbits that they have incorporated, as well as tidbits that I have learned over the years. So there's 10 tips I'm going to share with you throughout this presentation, and we're going to go now. We all know in pathways in level 2, there is a path on understanding your leadership style. So we all have to go through that path at some point. And there's the 4 styles being bureaucratic, authoritative, innovative, and pace setting. So you just have to understand and find out for yourself which leadership style fits you. Because each one of us has a completely different leadership style. And there's no wrong or right leadership styles. You just have to understand what works for you and understand how that style affects others as far as communicating your vision to them, and as well as motivating them and getting them on the same path that you're going to go on. So all leaders have to know what their strengths are. If you do not know what you're good at, there's no way to convey to the group that you're leading what you are wanting to do and the path that you're going to go on. So you need to know what your strengths are. Like me personally, I have gotten more comfortable with speaking in public over the years, where that 20 years ago was a major weakness of mine. Now it's a strength. So I knew that that was one of the weaknesses that I need to work on, and it's become a strength since I've worked on it. But not only do you need to know your strengths, you also need to know your weaknesses, because we all know we are not perfect. There is no one here on this meeting, no one here on this planet that can do everything right, exactly right, and do it perfectly each time. We make mistakes. That's why we're human. We want to learn from those mistakes. We want to build upon those weaknesses, because that's what makes us better leaders. Those leaders that excel in what they're doing know their weaknesses and work to improve upon them each and every single day. Because that's what makes us stronger leaders, is that we're building ourselves up, we're building the people around us, we're building the people that are sharing our vision. We are building them up every single day so that we can all become better leaders and better communicators. So that's what you want to know, is understand your weaknesses and continue to work on them. Your weaknesses will change over the years. Like, for instance, mine was communicating with others. Now my weakness is that I use sometimes crutch words like so, and, but sometimes. It varies from time to time, but I am cognizant every time in every assessment every 3 months of what my weaknesses are during that period and what I need to continue to work on, because I don't want to continue down the same path. I want to continue walking step by step, one step at a time, to get to the end goal that I want to be at. That means constant improvement. So not only do you want to understand your leadership style so that you know how to convey your message, how you're going to lead, you want to encourage creativity. You can be a better and effective leader if the followers or your members or whoever the team is that you have around you has that openness to be able to share any thoughts and ideas or anything they have. You want the groups to be able to offer any challenges to yourself as well as you offer it to them. You want that communication back and forth between yourself and whoever's on the team, so that it fosters the creative thoughts, mind, and processes for everyone involved. If you encourage that mindset, people are going to be open to ideas. They're going to bring up ideas. Some of them you might be able to work on and might be able to go forward with, and some of them might not be actionable. But that ability and behavior of fostering that brings forth a lot of the creativity from the people that are involved in the process. You also want to make sure that the goals that you have for the group stretches their abilities, but do not become a barrier to success. I have seen where people have goals for the team and their group that are so lofty, it puts them immediately at failure. and they know at that point that they're not going to be able to achieve it, and you can see their results that they're completely discouraged, they give up because they know at the end, I'm not going to be able to achieve this goal. So why try? You want to make the goal to a point where their abilities improve, but that they can see the end goal and that they can see the light at the tunnel. Because if they can see that and they can grasp it and they get it, their abilities will be enhanced through the process. Because that's what gives them the higher abilities and enhances their abilities, is not the goal itself, but the process to getting to achieving that goal. That's what's the present that you need to unwrap, is that process. So not only do you want to encourage creativity, you want to serve as a role model. I have seen in the past where, for instance, with starting quarterbacks in the NFL, they don't want to lose that job. They want to stay in the limelight. So they do their job in a manner that they don't care whoever's behind them because they want to stay ahead. You don't want to have that mindset that you don't ever want to be replaced. You want to have the mindset that you want the people behind you, you want the people that are working with you to see you and look up to what you're doing. You want to show those behaviors and characteristics that make them see that working with you is a benefit because you're encouraging them to be better. The saying goes, if you talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. So if you're going to tell your team members, you're going to tell whoever you're working with that you're going to go down this path, that every single day you're going to say one thing that you're good, that's going good about that day, or something that you value to start out that day with. You want to do it every single day. You don't want to say it and then just completely throw it out the window the very first time that you encounter your team. Because anything else that come out of your mouth at that point, they're not going to see value out of it. You want the members to be able to adopt those behaviors that you're giving, because you want them to see you as not just a leader, but as with them in the trenches, that is right beside them, helping them out at every turn that happens. And you also want to model the qualities that you want to see in that team. If you want the team to be positive every day, don't come in Debbie Downer every day, because they're not going to see the positivity that you're bringing because they see the action. So if you want positivity, be positive. So not only do you want to serve as a role model, be passionate about what you're doing. I have seen a lot of leaders that just when they go in from day one to the next day and the next day, you're wondering, why are they here? They don't love what they're doing. Be passionate about what you're doing. All great leaders are not focused only on the goal. They have the enthusiasm. They have the passion about the job at hand. You want the members also to care about progressing. We have pathways. If you're not enthusiastic about pathways, the members are not going to be enthusiastic about it. They're going to see that, well, he doesn't care about pathways. Why should I? You want to show that passionate attitude to the people that you're around on a daily basis. People flock to people who are passionate, who have great personality, and that are positive. People flock to them. You will see that if someone's negative, everyone will just stay as far away from them as possible because they don't want to be around it. So be passionate about it. You want to show appreciation to anyone who brings something to the table or contributes something. The more people bring to the table, say thank you for that. Be appreciative to it. Everyone wants a pat on the back because they want to feel like the information and the things that they are bringing value. They want to know that the time that they're devoting is bringing value. So they want that appreciation. So give it on a regular daily basis. So not only are leaders passionate, they listen and effectively communicate. I have seen people in the past, over the years, a long time ago when I was in college, that professors that I would talk to would communicate their teaching lesson that day. And when they're asked the question about it, they completely gloss over it. Because either they thought that the message at hand was delivered and that you need to go back and just reread it, or they did not think that the question was important enough. You want to be able to listen to everything that's communicated to you, as well as communicate that out to your group effectively. So you want to share that vision with your group. You want to inspire and motivate them to achieve excellence, like Vicky has shared. You want them to have, and you want to express genuine, sincere care and concern for the group, both verbally and non-verbally. Now, this is important because people can see that when you're communicating something verbally, in your non-verbal gestures, that it's just not important. You can verbally say, oh, that was a great idea. But by your non-verbal gestures, like facial expressions, they can tell that absolutely that was terrible, and they will not bring anything forth to you. So be genuinely sincere in caring for what they're bringing forth, regardless of what the idea is. And you want to keep that line of communication between your group and yourself open at all times, because you want to be able to communicate with them, they to communicate with you. So it's like an open door policy that at any time that they have an idea, they can just go ahead and share it to you via either email, text, however your communication methods are. But they have that ability to share that communication at any point. And that you recognize that communication when you receive it, so that they don't feel like it's going on deaf ears. So not only do you want to be able to listen and if you communicate effectively, you want to have a positive attitude, like I was alluding to before. People flock to positive people. They want to know that every single day that their efforts are not going on either deaf ear, or it just means it's meaning nothing or meaningless. Whatever the attitude that you have will filter down to the entire group. I have seen that in prior jobs that I've been at, that I have had a dictator of a boss that has literally struck my mood down every single day that I walked into work. Because as soon as I walked in, I was looking at the clock and waiting for the clock to strike 5 so I can get out of there because I didn't want to be there anymore. That mood can be demoralizing to a group. You will not get the group's best of their abilities if you do not be positive with them every single time. Things are going to get tough. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be obstacles. No, go ahead. Sorry. You don't want to get discouraged. You want to keep that positive outlook throughout the entire process from start to finish. If things were easy, everything would be given to us on a silver platter. It's not. We all know that things get difficult at times, and difficulties throughout life make us better people. So you want to keep that positive momentum and positive attitude throughout the entire process. You want the group to have an optimism and hope that throughout the process, we're going to overcome it throughout whatever the challenge is. We all know that we've been through and are still going through a challenge with COVID-19. We want to keep that positive and hope outlook that we're going to get past this. We're going to be a better district with this happening than even prior to COVID, because we are hunkered together going down the same direction, because we know that the dawn is coming and we are waiting there and pursuing it with a hungry attitude. So you want to keep that optimism and keep that positivity throughout the entire process, even when times get tough, because we are all in it with each other. No one's in it by themselves. We're all in it together. So not only do you want to keep a positive attitude, encourage people to make contributions. I know that sometimes it's difficult because a lot of people are in the mind frame sometimes of they're scared to get out of their comfort zones. I was like that 20 years ago. The encouragement that I got from the Thoroughbred Toastmasters at that point helped me break me out of that shell that I was in, to help me get the courage to make the leap to being a club president, to taking on an officer position, and it eventually got me to get the courage to become an area director and a division director and continue to grow my leadership skills and then continue to help. That encouragement, if I never received it 20 years ago, would not have put me in the position that I am today with you today. I would not be doing that presentation if it wasn't for those Toastmasters that encouraged me to continue to take those steps one at a time. So you want the group to be able to contribute and feel like they can contribute at any point. You want them to express those ideas openly and any plans that they would like to see openly. And you want them to be able to take an active role in any plans that you are making for your clubs, for your work, even in your personal lives. Because that fostering of that contributions make everyone feel like that they are important. And that's the important thing, is if they feel like they're important and they're being valued, they will bring more to the table, which will overall give you a better output for your team, your clubs, in whatever you are doing long term. So not only do you want to encourage those people to make contributions, motivate them. Like we were saying before, the passion, you want to be passionate about any ideas and goals. You can tell the people who are just not passionate that they're just doing things out of robotic motions, because you can tell by their thoughts, their actions, and their verbal cues. You want everyone to feel like that they are being included in the process from start to finish, because that's what's going to get them generally passionate for whatever goal you have, because they feel like that they actually contributed something to the end result. And that will make your job a lot easier, because they feel like they're incorporated, which means you will not have to do a lot of work in being either the team leader, your club president, or whatever that you're doing in the future, because everyone's contributing to go down that same path, which is making your work as the lead a lot easier, because you don't have to drive the process. You can just follow along as the car is going straight down the road. Praise them at any point that they provide anything, and then reward their accomplishments. I've seen this through clubs that when they get a member, they do an award ceremony to welcome them into the club. I've seen it when they accomplish their icebreaker speech, where everyone, either in person or online, stands up and applauds their icebreaker speech and presents them with a ribbon. When they accomplish their level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and even HPL or DTM, that rewarding experience with the person on the other side drives them to continue down that path, because everyone wants a reward for whatever they're doing. They don't want to feel like that whatever they're doing means nothing, because then at that point, the results are going to mean nothing. So reward them for whatever they bring to the table, because the more they get rewarded, the more they're going to do as far as contributing to the goal, and the more you're going to see their Toastmasters progression continue down that path, because we're all in this together. So not only do you want to motivate them, you want to offer the rewards and recognition, like I was saying before. Either doing it through the officer induction, recognizing their accomplishments, putting it out in a newsletter, whatever your club does, just make sure that they are seeing and their members are seeing the rewards being recognized in whatever manner. Because happy team members perform their jobs most effective. Because the happier the person is, the better the product that they present to the table. The more miserable they are, and the more they cannot stand whatever they're doing, you're going to see the output the same way. They're going to do the minimum. They're going to provide whatever they need just to get you off their back. And the results are not going to be what you're wanting. So make them happy by rewarding them and recognizing their work. So not only do you want to then offer the rewards of recognition, the last thing is you want to try new things. Now, you don't want to make this a dramatic, like Sharon was saying, shift in culture dramatically, because people are accustomed to resisting change. We all do that. I hated changing myself to become better at what I'm doing now because that was outside my comfort zone. But you want to try new things at a time because you want to get out of that comfort zone. So you want to look to your team for inspiration and feedback of things that you need to improve upon, because we all have to improve upon something. You want to pay attention to what worked in the past, because we have all done things that have been extremely successful. So you want to continue to do that and continue to adopt that, because if it's not broke, why fix it? So in those things that are not broken, don't fix it. Improve upon it maybe a little bit, but you don't have to overhaul and change the process if it's been working. But you want to be on the lookout for new things that can improve, inspire, motivate, and recognize for people. Because as people and we all change, the process is going to end up changing with it. So we all want to be adaptable to change and adaptable to trying new things out. Because as we try new things out and as we add things and modify what's worked and what needs to be fixed, we become better people, better leaders, and better Toastmasters throughout that entire process. If Toastmasters was a cookie cutter process where we were stamping out the exact same shaped cookie exactly the same way in exactly the same time, we would not have fun with this process. As Toastmasters, we have adopted change every year that we have gone through a Toastmasters calendar year. We've been faced with many different challenges, but we have changed and adopted the process as things have changed and modified in future years. So let's continue to look for any ideas and foster people bringing up any new ideas that can make us better Toastmasters, better clubs, areas, divisions, and even better district. Because growth is what is important, and the process of growing makes us the better people that we want to become. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to open up the floor for any questions, thoughts, ideas about that presentation, because I know actually it was going to go 45 minutes and I did not realize it went so quick. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up for any ideas, thoughts, questions.
Thanks, Ahmad. I know that was really nice food for thought. I know me and some of my other club officers have been texting in the background and expressing that we really enjoyed some of your ideas. The idea of giving awards to new members and to people when they do their first icebreaker. Thanks a lot for those ideas.
Yes, thank you. And in a lot of the ideas that I have shared with you all are ideas that I was presented with over the years. So a lot of these ideas came from fellow Toastmasters that I've heard those ideas and I was like, that's a great idea. Let me implement it within the club that I'm at, because we are all sharing those ideas between each other. And that's the important thing about this, is we want to be able to communicate those ideas between each other, because each one of us in each of the clubs, we are not in our own silos. We are not all by ourselves. We should be able to communicate all ideas within each club to other fellow clubs that might be able to adopt those ideas to their clubs. Because with sharing ideas, we all become better. Anything else?
Yeah, Ahmad, at this stage in my Toastmasters, I've done so many different things. One thing I'm getting a lot of pleasure out of is mentoring and helping people to grow in the way they want to grow, and to be able to step back and say, hey, I was able to encourage them and get beyond that. So we need to think about the mentoring that we can also do.
Yes. And Jerry, I completely agree. Because the mentors that I've had in my life with Toastmasters got me to the where I'm at now. And I would probably have quit Toastmasters if it wasn't for those mentors. So mentoring is a crucial part to keeping all of our clubs successful. And if the clubs don't, if you all are at a point where you need help with mentors outside of the club, I've mentored other clubs and other members in clubs outside. I know there's a lot of people here on this call and a lot of people that are currently either in the district executive committee, their area directors, division directors, that would enjoy the ability to help mentoring other members that are in other clubs. So reach out to any one of us. Don't feel like if you have a ton of new members and you've only got a handful of people that can mentor, don't feel like you have to do that undertaking yourself. There's a lot of Toastmasters that are here that can help you out through those periods to help mentor as well. And if you don't know how to mentor, reach out to one of us. We can show you how to do it.
Great job, Ahmad. I would also like to add that sometimes clubs, I feel like they get stuck where they don't know what to do. They're struggling, but they want to know how to get to that next level. Do not be afraid to reach out to the other leaders around the district and to other clubs. We're all here to help each other. And believe me, I could tell you from going and visiting other clubs, that's where I get some of my best ideas that I can then steal, borrow. But at the end of it all, get back to the point of sharing it with other clubs. And that's really a critical aspect of the leadership, is to be able to get out there and do that. And thank you so much for presenting this today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Dean. And that's why we're all here. Because any one of us, if you feel like that your club is struggling in any manner, don't hesitate to feel like that you're in this boat or on that ship by yourself. Reach out to any of us, to your area director, your division director. We are all in this together. No one's by themselves. No one is in this alone. We all want to get to that same goal, that same path. We are on that same road. So don't feel like that you're in this on your own and by yourself, because you're not. We are all here together. We all want to encourage one another and get us to be the better communicators and leaders that we want to be in the future. Anybody else?
Ahmad, what is mastery or progress? Like, how do either of those concepts come into play when leading or trying to motivate a team?
What it's to me is the process. I was always told that a leader is an effective leader, not overnight. It's a process that has to be done one step at a time. It has to be done throughout the entire process of either trying and leading new things, but it's something that you have to actively practice every single day. You can't read it reading a book is fine, and reading and gathering information is fine. But if you don't act on that information and you do not put that information into action, it means nothing. My mastery of, or at least I have not, trust me, I have not mastered leadership yet. I'm nowhere close to it, but I'm at least progressing as I was 20 years ago. I'm light years ahead of where I was 20 years ago. But my process of mastering leadership was to be more active and help out as much as I can with anybody and everyone that wanted the help. Because not only did it benefit the team or the group that I was helping, but it benefited me because I got to act and I got to share information that I was shared with either previous Toastmasters that poured their lives into me, with information that I have read through articles, books. Those pieces of information has been shared. I got to impart that to the groups that I was working with, the teams that I was working with. So it benefited them because they got to the goal that they were looking towards, or they got progression to that goal that they were looking towards. But it benefited me because of the practice, the relationships. The value that I got out was sharing what I was shared with years ago and imparting that same knowledge to them. So being a leader and mastering it is also being a servant to whoever you're leading, being there for them, being in the trenches with them, getting in the dirt with them when it's messy, because they know that you're right there with them. And that's what we all want to do to master that, is we want to be with them and be through that process with them step by step, because we get value out of both sides of the process, either being a team member with that leader or being the leader itself. Both get value in that process.
Thank you. That was a great answer. I took notes.
Anything else, or anybody else got any thoughts, impressions, ideas?